Welcome to another episode of Illuminating Information, the podcast where we shine a light on the cutting-edge ideas shaping the way we work and innovate. Today, we're diving into a topic that seems to be at the front of everyone's mind in the tech space: Agentic AI. Joining me to break down the ins and outs of the technological side of things is our very own CTO, Jakob Praher, a visionary leader and expert in AI innovation at Mindbreeze. Together, we'll unpack what Agentic AI is, how it differs from generative AI, and the transformative ways it's shaping the future of workplace tools. We'll also explore how our groundbreaking solution, Mindbreeze Inspire, is empowering teams with deeper insights and smarter collaboration. If you've ever wondered how AI can truly act as a proactive assistant, anticipating needs, offering insights, and streamlining decision-making, you won't want to miss this episode. Now let's jump right in. Thank you for joining me today, Jakob.
Hi. Thanks as well.
So to start things off here, I want to kind of level set for the audience. Can you explain to us what Agentic AI is and how it differs from generative AI?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Also, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, so I think the most important thing is that what we see as generative AI these days is really powered by so-called sophisticated large language models. And they really also already do a fantastic job at tackling what we call also the semantic interpretation problem. So basically understanding the meaning behind texts, because normally computers represent text or images just as a buffer of characters and pixels, so they don't have any meaning attached to it. And this is why these techniques are so important for the next level of interacting with computers and machines, because this was also before these large language models actually became feasible with modern technology, because you have to understand that, for instance, all the works of Shakespeare, they fit into, let's say, a few megabytes, and such a large language model has gigabytes of information contained in this neural network weights that have been trained, and also the power it needs to train something like on an internet scale. It takes months to process this data with these powerful machines. So this all became feasible, and now we have this technology. It's really interesting what we can do with this technology. And generative AI is basically a use case of these language models in order to generate content. Yeah? So we use this for other downstream tasks. So like, for instance, classification or sequence tagging or something like this, and or for also translating content. But suddenly there was this use case also to do content generation using these models that have learned this understanding of texts and images and videos and so forth. And suddenly this was really an interesting use case that you could provide input to these models, and then they provide you that content again. So you put in content like text, image, video or something, and then they again generate text, images, video, whatever they were trained on. And this is working quite well, but the point is it's generating content. That's what generative AI is all at the end, what it boils down to. And this can also be very cool because, for instance, you could summarize something. Yeah, you can just summarize a large text and then you get the essence of the text. But what Agentic AI refers to is another division of AI, which is all about acting also in the environment. So basically an agent can be seen as a machine that has the ability to act, and acting means also to interact with the environment, and basically again uses these large language models because they are the foundation to understanding meaning and can semantically work with text and extract the semantics out of text. But one uses it in a different setup. So one uses it, so the LLM becomes the agent. And the LLM basically interacts with the user in the form that it not just generates content, but it also decides and reasons about the tools that such an agent has. So one calls this tool calling. That means that one has such an agent works with a set of tools. The tools are described by their use cases, textually described again, and then the agent can use a tool. For instance, it can use a tool like to perform a search, and then it has to, of course, rephrase the original question about that the user had in a form that one can search, for instance, on the web for a part of this content, and then it again takes this output of the search and again looks into what is the next tool that could help until finally this agent has a solution. And a tool could be also to really act on the environment. So for instance, a tool could be not just to retrieve some more information, facts and things like this, but also, for instance, to do work. For instance, to send an email, to generate content on a web page and also publish it. So it could automatically publish the content, generate landing, so not just generate landing pages, but also publish the landing page on a web content management system and so forth. And therefore it's becoming really an interesting possibility to be used by humans also to get things done. And this really end-to-end, so basically from the initial question, instruction or whatever, until that the job is really done. And so this is, I think, an important point, and this is why Agentic AI is really an interesting next step, because it automates things and has even more value than just generating something.
It's awesome, and I really appreciate you taking some time to really break down the differences, the banal minutiae between the two, and just why Agentic AI is so powerful. Moving into our next question and pivoting a little bit more towards Mindbreeze. I mentioned the power of Mindbreeze Inspire in the intro. Just in your words, how does Mindbreeze Inspire support applications of Agentic AI in the workplace?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Let me first explain the concept of the Inside Workplace. This is a new application suite based on Mindbreeze Inspire, which builds basically on our understanding for the information landscapes of enterprises. And the interesting thing here, where we already were really good at also before the whole Gen AI, was that we not just built search infrastructures, we built so-called inside apps. And inside apps are also a very fascinating topic on its own. An inside app basically is a data-bound app that is interactive and provides you with insights. So you as a user have the abilities to interact with the information, so to get, for instance, a 360-degree view on this information. So for instance, you have a customer or you have a product, and such an inside app could put your most important information element in the center, and then you have segments around this, and you can interact and look at, for instance, the customer from all degrees, for instance, from the support, ticketing, to the sales, and also to invoicing and all kinds of things. So whatever is interesting for the product, the release cycle, the tickets, the customers that use the product, and so forth. So it's really a powerful thing. And one especially interesting aspect of these inside apps is that they also provide actions. So the information becomes actionable. And what this inside workplace basically is that we also use these large language models in order to understand via such agentic AI, so with an agent, to understand what is the intention of the user by asking a question, but then not just generating some text or an image, but really to generate an interactive inside app. And not just one inside app, you start an insight journey, which we call like this, because it's basically the path to your insights. and every app or every interaction with an app becomes an insight touch point. And behind the scenes, this is using all this new technology like Agentic AI and agent technology, tool calling and things like this, in order to provide you the best possible insights. And then also these insight apps, as they also have actions on the objects that they represent, for instance, as I said, the customer or a document. You could digitally sign a document, you can send it via email, you could publish something somewhere and so forth. Also the Inspire can use these actions and also register these actions as tools on the context of these insight apps, so that the agent also could help you with these actions. So I think this is an interesting view of it. So on the one hand, we use Agentic AI in order to build such applications that are not just a single step, you give it the question and then you get an answer, but in order to get an interactive journey of insight apps and touch points. And on the other hand, also the apps can provide again input from other tools in order to automate things. So I think this is a very fascinating combination, and also combining the interactivity with this semantic understanding, I think, is also very fascinating. So it's a very cool development, which is also very fun to develop and to create.
So transitioning from what you just said about softwares that are fun and exciting to make, Mindbreeze has just released this amazing revolutionary new product called Insight Workplace, changing the way in which businesses see their actual physical workplaces through insight touch points and insight journeys. Jakob, I'm curious, what role does Insight Workplace play in leveraging Agentic AI to create insight apps tailored to the user needs?
Yeah, as I already mentioned in the answer to your second very good question, is that we basically have this ability with Agentic AI or with AI agents, by using a set of tools, having the possibility to reflect, to reason, and to look into and to understand the user intention. So for instance, we have this example, I have a strategic business review meeting with this customer. What are the facts? Can you present this to me? If this is the question, there's a lot of things Mindbreeze Inspire and our Insight Workplace has to understand and break down in order to provide the best 360-degree view in this case, but and it could be completely different app. So basically this tailoring by looking into the intention of the user, by looking into what information we can provide, what insights we can provide by having this in a structured representation in the Inspire system, by looking into how we could phrase this into some queries to provide structured information, and also what objects are relevant. So for instance, to detect that this is about the customer, and what is the customer that it is about, and what is this meeting, what needs do I have when I have a strategic business review meeting. Yeah? So what kinds of insights do I need on that side? And all of this is basically by this leveraging Agentic AI or AI agents that can use large language models to break this down and to structure it, and then to, in multi-steps, come up with an interactive application. That's basically also the way how the Insight Workplace gives you this ability, and also it's learning. So if you, for instance, create a new app, you can describe it to the system again, because also not all of the apps will be completely auto-generated or something like this. Some apps are really handcrafted and are very excellent in doing their job, or you also the actions. Yeah, so what actions you have, you can of course also describe this to the system, and then by publishing these things with our tools that we already have, you can basically give the Insight Workplace the ability to use this for answering or for tailoring the apps, and really using also what is there, what you created. So empowering the user to create apps and then making these apps also available so that they can be connected to the user needs, that the user can easily enter in natural language or also with spoken text. So it's not just this modality so that you always have to enter things. You could also talk to the system and so forth. So I think this is an important role. And on the back end side, we have this services that we call the insight services, and these are the foundation for evaluating this kind of systems. So because a very important point is all this AI and machine learning things, it's data centric and it also has to be evaluated. So it's not like traditional software where you can write a test case and then the test case fails or passes or things like this. But you also have to develop these things. And we also want to not just give our customers a tool that they can use as a user, but also that they can extend and measure, and that this is really an engineering solution. Yeah? And this is a very important point because, for instance, still with all these Gen AI things, you always have things like hallucination and all these points, and you want to tackle this. Yeah? And this is also where people are really excited about our solutions, is that we have tools that are easy to use. This does not need any programming tasks. You don't have to work in software engineering in order to do this. You can easily, with really great tools, create a data set for evaluation, and then you can use the agent in order to evaluate, and also evaluation itself. So for instance, measuring the faithfulness or the trustworthiness or all these kinds of scorings that you have, the correctness, completeness, and so forth about the answers that the agent gives you, again, can be an agent that uses these powerful models in order to provide you scores and metrics so that you can measure and say, okay, now I have the system, and how well does it perform, and what do I need to do in order to improve the accuracy, the faithfulness, and so forth. So I think both sides are very important. Yeah? So providing really great and powerful things for the user to interact with, and on the other hand, providing tools so that you can also apply these techniques to your information landscapes. Yeah? So that's a really great combination what we have.
Hey listeners, sorry to interrupt, but that's all we have time for today. Make sure to subscribe to get alerts about our next episode, where we'll have part 2 of this incredible interview. Part 2 will delve deeper into the power of large language models and how teams are overcoming some of the challenges with integrating it into their systems. Have a question or topic you'd like us to cover in future episodes? Know someone who might be a good guest on our show? Reach out to us on our website and let us know. Stay curious, stay adaptive, and as always, keep illuminating information. We'll see you next time.